Hello, everyone. Can everyone see my lovely screen? I can't see you, but
Yes.
okay.
The
It
screen
really
is
is a
me.
problem, Emily, isn't it? It's a problem. So Kayla, can you be my chat eyes and when you're not presenting?
On
Um,
it.
Thank you. So welcome everyone to the fundraising events session. I'm trying to move this dumb thing. Oh man, Zoom just needs to let us get rid of this dumb bar. You can't move it. You just spend all your time trying to find a place to get rid of it. There we go. My name is Kelly Cates. I'm the executive director of Promising Pages in Charlotte, North Carolina. I have the privilege of hosting several lovely other ladies here with me today from different organizations. And of course, it's not going to let me move my dumb screen. Oh, there we go. Man, this thing is crazy. Okay, so with us today, man, you think with us being on Zoom as long as we have that we'd get the hang of things, but no. Um, so today our panelists are Kayla Hand, Executive Director of Books Between Kids in Houston. Rowan Childs was going to be with us, but she is traveling. So Ann Christensen is going to be joining us as the development coordinator for Madison Reading Project in Madison, Wisconsin. And Eileen Minogue from the book Fairies, who's their executive director, and Bené Hicks, the chief external relations officer in Book Harvest Durham. So let's see, it's not working. All right, so we're going to start with Kayla, and we're going to go through several different events today. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer them as we go. But we're trying to really give you a really packed presentation that we'll share with you at the end. But this presentation is going to try and give you a real outline of each of these different events so that it answers most of your questions. But if there are additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. So Kayla, would you please walk us through our first event that we're going to be talking about, breakfast and bingo.
Yes.
My favorite.
Although, would you mind if we could start with Book Bash?
Did my
It's okay. I have two events to talk about, and there's a reason I want to talk about Book Bash first. You guys, nothing makes you feel more human than moderating a session in front of all these people watching you operate technology. So here we are. We're all human today. Okay, so the reason I wanted to talk about Book Bash first is we first launched Book Bash in 2014. Our organization was founded in 2012, and at this point in time, we were volunteer run. So we were completely run by the community, no professional staff. And Book Bash really was our bread and butter. It was our biggest fundraiser. We weren't writing grants at the time, and it was a way for our founders and our board to invite their friends to become part of Books Between Kids. I like to say it has the makeup of a gala, but very casual in dress code and presentation. So what we have done, and honestly, this event has grown up with us. It started with our historical donors, and a lot of those donors are still part of the event today. So the way that it starts is we start off with a raffle, cocktail hour. We move into dinner. Right before dinner, we do something called Heads and Tails. Has anybody heard of Heads and Tails? I had not until I joined Books Between Kids, but it is very fun. You pay to play. You get like a flashing button or a bracelet or something that signifies you have bought into the game. And everyone who's playing stands up. The auctioneer will say, okay, choose your head or your tails. And then they flip a coin, and if it matches, then you get to stay standing, and whoever's left at the end wins a prize. It actually raises a fair amount of money for us for what it is, and people love to play it. So we do that. We have dinner. We talk about our organization. We do a race the paddle. And this event, at least lately, the race the paddle has really been the significant portion of our income. You can see last year, $75,000 came in just from that portion of the night. What else? Risks and challenges. It was historically held outside, and that made us nervous every single year. So we worked hard to find a new venue for it, which worked out great. Under staff and volunteer support, I wrote 6 staff, and I know everyone's gonna say 6 staff, that's a lot. I'm the only one who really does the planning of the event and the execution of it. The rest of the staff are day of support. And so it really If you planned an event, know it's time consuming. And then we also have a pretty active event committee of 15 or so members. Last year, it was led by our board president, Ann Guerra, who is on the call today as well. I'm very grateful for her support. I have my numbers. Well, I did have my numbers down below. So when Kelly gets back up there, you can kind of see the breakdown. One thing that is important to note is all of our raffle prizes were in-kind donations that were solicited by committee members. It takes a significant amount of time, to log and inventory. But our raffle brought in about $14,000. So yeah, this was our first year with a professional auctioneer. I highly recommend it. It worked out really well for us. We're using Greater Giving for our event management software. The attendance of the event's about 200, although it's interesting, it's starting to go down. And the reason I wanted to talk about this and why that attendance I think is going down is because we've added other events and other ways to get involved throughout the year. Which brings me to breakfast bingo. Sorry, Kelly, I'm making you do slide gymnastics.
I'm sorry, it won't let me use the traditional way to turn the pages, and so it's just being very sensitive. God, this is
That's
so
okay. I'll start talking about it while you figure that out. So breakfast bingo was first held in 2019. So we had our first year, it was fantastic, and then COVID happened. So we were shut down for a few years. And so we are now ramping that event back up and this will be our third bingo post-COVID.
This is awful.
I'm sorry. The same structure as our other events. We have an events committee. We have some day of staff support, some day of volunteers. This event is by far our most popular event. It is very fun. It is, as it sounds, breakfast and bingo, and our motto is everybody is a winner. And so historically, most people have won prizes. This year, every single person will win a prize. It could look like a small prize for your table, or it could look like a big $500 prize for winning bingo. But what's interesting is while this is our most popular event, we have more people attend. It is a weekday morning and it is primarily women, and it raises less money than our book bash event. And so one of the things we're working to do is really to up that revenue. And we've done that through a couple different avenues so far this year. Our event isn't until April. But so far we've added a pretty robust sponsorship package, which is new for us. And we're purchasing the prizes, and we're getting sponsors for the prizes so we can purchase them instead of soliciting in-kind donations. And so that's really helping with our staff capacity as well as our volunteers. I will tell you that we are learning that it is very hard to rely on volunteers only for the bulk of this planning. We do not have a development department at this time, but that is something we are feeling the need for as events just take a lot of time. And one more, I've been going without my notes, so sorry if I went rogue. But the one thought that I wanted to leave you with is when you start an event, even if it's going to be an annual event, the more you take time to debrief and deconstruct your event and how it went, the better it's going to be the next year. That's something we've been working really hard on, and taking notes, because you're not going to remember when it's a year from now and you're planning that same event. And so it's been really fun to watch our events grow bigger, better, stronger, more efficient every year.
Excellent. Thank you, Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Seriously. This is really unbelievable. Is anyone else having issues with this if you're presenting?
I did not have any issues, but yours looks different than mine did. So
It's crazy. I cannot advance one slide.
What is next up? Madison Reads? Is that the next one?
I think it's Madison Reads.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Kelly, would you like for me to try to share?
Yeah, actually, that would be great. I don't know why.
I'm working on it right now. If you give me 2 seconds, I'll have to.
Bless.
Can we give a round of applause for Kelly Ann? Kelly Ann has
I
been
was just
doing
gonna say
all of our videos and chats and all the
Really doing
administrative
it better
stuff.
than the rest of us.
Kellyanne works for Sereni and Associates. Her real job is she works for an accounting company. They've been great supporters of ours, and I'm going to give them a shout out right now since we are in fundraising. We have a corporate literacy challenge, and what Sereni and Associates does for us, they have committed to put a book in the hand of a child for every billable hour they put out for accounting. So we get sustainable funding every month from Sereni and Associates, aside from this wonderful technical support she's providing today for the NPAA. And it has been tremendous help for us. It's money I can count on every single month. And a big shout out to them because we just hit a milestone. They've just sponsored 200,000 books for us to distribute. So they've been huge, huge supporters of ours. So thank you for your support, Kellyanne, and big shout out to Sereni and Associates.
Kayla, if you're sharing, this is an old version of the slides. The day just
That's
gets
the only
better
version
and
I
better.
have.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna have to go back to sharing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. This is terrible.
Who's up next? Do we want to start talking about it? It's Madison Reed,
Here's
right?
what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna,
Okay. Yeah.
can everyone see
I-
my screen?
Absolutely. This is Ann Christensen. I'm with Madison Reading Project. How's it going, everybody?
We're good.
Rowan Childs is our executive director and founder of the organization. Is like absolutely bummed that she couldn't be here today. She decided to take a few days off with some friends, which is well-deserved. We have a very, very, very busy few months ahead of us, and her time frame to be able to even have a few days off between now and the end of June was pretty limited. So she said, I'm gonna go. I am Ann Christensen. As I mentioned earlier, I'm the development director with Madison Reading Project and also the events coordinator. The event that I'm going to discuss today is our what we like to call the anti-gala called Ready to Wear. It's a small little play on words. We with the word read in the front. Very often we get many people who pronounce it ready to wear, which is fine. It gets the point across. We've been doing this event. This will be our 7th year coming in 2024, and it's basically bigger and better every year. Rowan is got a reputation for being a bit of a fashionista herself, and has always been very interested in that. And one day she was discussing with a board member, I'd really like to do a gala. And the board member was basically telling her, please don't do a gala. They're very expensive. You don't know if they're going to be successful. There's a lot of risk in terms of, are you going to get the engagement that you think you are? Be very prepared. And planning is essentially just, really at the core of any event that you plan for your organization. So the experience of coming to a gala for this event is really what I want to say is a performance for the attendees and for our the sponsorship and so forth. So not being a gala, not centered around food, I will start out by saying that if you know the show Project Runway, you've got kind of the gist of what this is. It's a fashion competition. It starts as a fashion competition about 6 months ahead of time. And then the night of the fundraiser is when all the designs have been completed, and we have celebrity judges and about 450 attendees, including our sponsors and just people who have bought tickets. And they have live models that walk the runway in front of the audience, where our celebrity judges will actually pick the top 3 of the design choices, and then the audience gets to select their winner. So it's kind of a American Idol Project Runway sort of put together. All of the fashions are tied to a book theme, and also all of the fashions are actually made out of paper. I'm going to just shift my screen around a little bit here, and you can kind of see that this outfit right here, there's a lot of thought and creativity that goes into that. And that is made out of about 90% paper. So that a feat, let's call it, and that creativity really is something that I think draws people to the event very much so. Sponsors, we typically get between 50 and 60% of the money raised for the event is through sponsorship. Our attendees from 2020, let's see, we skipped 2020, so 2021 to last year increased by, it doubled to just over 400 people last year, and this year we're expecting to have over 500 people attend the event. The budget we have set is $25,000, which doesn't seem like a whole lot considering you're renting the space and all of the rentals that go along with putting this event on. 100% of the teams that participate, and this is also where one of the challenges, but also one of the hugest payoffs in terms of engagement with the community, is getting our design teams to volunteer and sign up now, which it's February, to work together as a team and come up with a design by June the 12th. And then they also come to the event and work basically the event, getting their outfit onto the stage.
Hey, Anne, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who are your teams? Like, are we talking design or artists, or could someone from, like, the plumbing, business down the road come up with something?
Yeah, good question. And absolutely, this is why this is the big magic secret recipe, is that it can be a corporate donor. Like the dress that I just showed you is actually from a local bank. They put together a team, they created their golden goddess, and that was their sponsored team. We've also had a few youth teams that have come forward, usually an art teacher from one of the high schools will volunteer and put together their team of 4 or 5 kids from their classes. And we also will have sponsors who are saying, I don't have a team, I'd love to have my name associated with something, can I sponsor a team? And then the last, of course, is our artists. Typically we'll have we have a few returning artists over the last 7 years. We have 2 artists who will do it all. They will design the outfit. They will either model it, or they have a model that they're working with. And so you really get this range of, it can be artists, it can be a corporate, it can be a youth team. It really can be anyone who's got the inspiration for it. And I will say, it's an incredible team building opportunity. It's a way for us to basically like engage with people for 6 months of the year, where we are, posting on social media the progress of these teams. They'll send us little snippets of their work sessions. They tell us the feedback from these teams basically are, we want to come back and do this next year. We're gonna, they win a paper crown and a sash, and that's it. But it is a huge hit.
And bragging rights.
It's just absolutely incredible. I mean, if you check out the website, which I highly recommend, we try to keep as much gallery video as we can on the page at all times, because it's just really plain fun to look at. It's an opportunity. Let's say if you're starting out photographer, we get a lot of people who will volunteer to do all of these things to make it a really awesome show, because they want the photos. They want that connection to the event. Last year, the Sylvie, which is a music venue in town, has basically said, we'd like to get a videographer out here to video the entire event, so that we can put it onto our website as promotion that we do these nonprofit galas in the space. Would that be okay with you? And if you know anything about hiring a videographer, that's like $5,000 that they just gave us because they really wanted to be there and they really knew the showmanship of the event. These are just a few of the images that are pictured here. What I can tell you about the stage that's on the first one is that that's about 25 teams. We had to cap it off at, that was probably 4 or 5 too many. That is one of the bigger risks or challenges, is that you are project managing 25 design teams right now to basically make sure that they're keeping on track and they make it to the show. And you're doing that via phone and via email, and so that really takes a lot of time. And then, but the sponsors and the engagement from the community, they remember it all year long. We get asked about it all the time, and it's absolute gold with regards to any social media and awareness for our mission. We also have special guests just to speak a little bit about community. So we have many different opportunities now, now that we've created this event that really is an evening of fun and it's a performance. We can now invite our community members and our community partners. We had an early literacy teacher group that came out last year and was able to, show and profile their organization, have them address the audience in terms of what they do. It's a way for us to share with our other community partners. Goodwill, the retail and the organization in Southern Wisconsin was a team last year. They did something that was thematic to their mission. I could go on and on. Before I was development director here, I had attended the year 2, 3, and then skipped up to 6 skipped up to 5 and 6 before I came working here. And I think it was probably the reason that I wanted to come here. So
well, it's also the reason that I even knew about Madison Reading Project, because I was researching this very thing, because we were trying to find a way to, like, what do we do with the books that we can't use? And so a technical question for you guys is, I see this paper, but are they actually books that were going to be destroyed that are being upcycled, or was this just paper, lying around your house, magazines, anything?
That's a really good direction. So what we encourage is that reuse, reduce, and reuse. Yes, we right about, March, April, if we have the opportunity, we will start to stockpile books and use those books within and we go out to the teams and tell them, you're welcome to come to our book center and pick out from this pile of, unusable things. And what you can see here on the screen is we encourage, painting the paper. So a lot of times that one on the right, that's yellow on top, that's actually supposed to be like kind of representing agriculture. That was definitely magazine pages and some other book pages that they put together and then spray painted or painted with tempera paint. The one on the left that I showed you earlier is actually spray painted with black and gold. It's pretty awesome. I took it to an event to just sort of show people this is the event coming up, and I had many people that were just like going, like, what is it? So the curiosity is, I think, a big part of it. And yes, we're absolutely trying to, make use and create something out of that.
I see a Miss Universe pageant with book dresses coming up,
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank
Yes,
you for
thank
being
you.
here and for stepping in for Rowan. And if we've got any questions in the chat, someone would just let me know, that'd be great. And thank you. All right, we're gonna move on to Book Harvest Durham for their Dream Big book drive and community celebration, which has just gotten bigger and bigger every year.
It's always a fun event. Hi, everyone. My name is Benay. I am with Book Harvest. This event has been going on for a very long time, but it has transitioned a bit in recent years. We've made it more of a community celebration. It is Book Harvest's single fundraising event, and it's not even billed as a fundraising event. We actually advertise it as that book drive and community celebration. So the primary goal is to collect books over the course of 2 months and encourage book drive captains to get those books. And then we get sponsorships for the event itself. So we do the typical sponsorship asks and marketing behind it. But other than that, there isn't really any other fundraising to it. So the event itself is on MLK Day each year, and it is a gathering of all different kinds of neighborhoods and groups. And the goal is to get those books dropped off. So we have like a drive-through book drop off. And then it's a huge partner fair where partners are actually bringing activities. So it's interactive for families. It's not just info fair. And it is indoors and outdoors. So it is in January, it's MLK Day. And the goal is to bring everybody together in celebration of books. It's not a goal. The goal is not necessarily to raise money, and it's only kind of like a small little piece that we put out at the end of the event. So going through like what it takes to get there, we have 82 volunteers who at least took part this year. We have 27 community partners. Those are the people who are attending and setting up those activities. Maybe they're providing free food. We have 77 book drive captains. Those are people coordinating those book drives. About 30 staff who participate, and then police officers, because we had over 2,000 people attend this year, and we had about the same last year, and it keeps growing each year. So there are definitely some risks, weather, safety. We have to rely on those vendors and partners to be there to do what they said they were going to do. Breaking down the money, I keep this event under 14K every single year, give or take a little bit. And then we have raised in 2024, we raised 101, we raised 101,000, we net 88 roughly.
Renee, sorry to stop you, but what are
Yeah.
what are your primary expenses out of that 13,000? Like, what is the bulk of the expense? Because it looks like you're in like a big open space. Like, is your space donated?
Mhm.
You
Yeah. So for Dream Big, the last couple of years we have gotten the space donated, just out of the kindness of their hearts, and it's good marketing for them too. So the property managers gave that one to us for free. I would say the biggest expenses are various forms of marketing and merch. We outfit our volunteers with logoed items. We have as many signs as possible around just to try and make sure everything looks good and people know what they're doing. It's a large event, so we try and make sure that people are going to the right places. We have some food expenses, very minimal. We pay the police officers, they're off duty, we pay them. A lot of it is donated though. We have a DJ who comes and does it for free. We have performers who do things for free. I would say another big expense that we've ramped up this year, I try to pay artists for their work, and so we do have some performers that I've been paying at full price just because we can, and I want to support our local art industry. So some of those artists are now being paid.
thank you.
And then benefits, I mean, the obvious why we're all here really. I mean, we're just community engagement, getting books out there. We provide books to kids as well at Dream Big. We have another summer event. We don't raise any money through it, but it's the primary goal in the summer is to provide as many books as possible. We've started to incorporate that a little bit into the Dream Big book drive. So we do provide those books kind of wherever we go, really. So kids are gathering books. It's really exciting to see an entire community really, really diverse community come together because you know, it's some of our school children come. It goes out to all of the local public schools get a robocall. So it's really a community event. And that is why we get the dollars, because sponsors want to be a part of it. The sponsors that sponsor this event aren't in it for the glitz and glamour. They're in it literally just to have their name kind of associated with something so wonderful. So we definitely haven't even really tapped into the corporate dollars we could be, and that's coming. We just are building our capacity to do that. Since it hasn't been the primary goal of the event, it hasn't been the primary goal of our hiring and our fundraising campaign for the year. So all right, I went through that really quickly, but does anybody have any questions now about it?
I do.
Great.
Do you have trucks or do you rent trucks to take all the books from the event back to your headquarters?
Great question. We have a company here called 2 Men and a Truck, and they are a local moving company, and they donate all of their time and energy and trucks. So they come with us at the very beginning of the day, and they stick with us throughout the entirety of the day. They help us box those books, and we of course give them an in-kind sponsorship in exchange for that. So they're getting a lot of marketing.
Fantastic.
And do you, so I know in the past you guys have used, do you count the books that you collect leading up to? Because initially this was like also like a book collection. So it looks like you did over 20,000 in 3 hours, but what's your like total book collection for this? Because I think the in-kind book collection has a value along with the monetary donations.
Yeah, absolutely. We through this book drive each year, we get between 50 and 60,000 books during the course of the 2-month book drive. We try and encourage people to drop them off at the event just because it's more fun that way. So that's where that 20,000 comes from. So it is still that book drive. And again, sponsors love that. A lot of sponsors will actually have their own book drives and then bring them at the event, take picture next to their logo. It really gets them involved, and then they actually get to see their dollars in action.
It's great. Nice closing the
I have
loop.
I have a quick question. I mean, you said 1,000, 2,000 people attend. What happens if it rains? The money's already received, right? Because it's mostly sponsorships and things like that. Have you ever had it rain or
Oh yeah.
inclement? And how did
Yeah,
you
we've had
pivot?
it ice, we've had it snow, we've had it rain. It rained this year right up until the very minute the event started. Had us nervous for a minute. It is a rain, snow, or shine event. So we continue on no matter what happens. We just prepare. I mean, with this, it's now an indoor-outdoor event. So we do have coverings. It's a great venue. So there's like a stage with a cover, and inside, of course, is covered. We have a rain plan. We just bring tents and we set up whatever we can, and we have a transition plan in place if we need to switch mid event, but it goes forward no matter what. And
By collecting up through it, you're guaranteeing that you're going to get the books regardless of that 1-day event.
people can drop off the books at any time, and our sponsors they know that fewer people might show that day, but it doesn't necessarily matter because we're doing all the publicity, before, during, and after. So the sponsors themselves are getting their value for their dollars that are donated, and the books are coming no matter. We have donation bins out front. Some people just like to do that anyway, out front of our office. So it's more just the party. And the year at Iced, I think we had like 500 people compared to the over 2,000 this year. So
That's an amazing, and I'm imagine that for MLK, it's also a great opportunity to bring in volunteers. It's a volunteer opportunity because many people use MLK Day to give back and to be of service. So it's a great,
right.
it's a lot of stuff going on. So
Yes,
thank you,
it's
Renee.
a multifaceted event, which we sponsors love too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right. So continuing on this thread, because a lot of folks actually do community book drives. So we wanted to give you just a little bit different version of what community book drives also look like in other communities. I feel like Book Harvest is like, they blow it out. Like it's just huge. So just for smaller numbers, let's see, Anne, are you still there to talk about Madison Reading Project's community book drive? Just
Sure
very
am.
briefly, because sponsorships are the key to this as well.
Yeah, sponsorships are the key to this as well. We do our book drive starting the beginning of November, and it runs for actually closer to 5 to 6 weeks, right into the middle of December. We have to use your phrase, closing the loop. We have a very large giving event that we take part in that happens immediately following the book drive. The community book drive is intended to sort of restock our shelves for that large give, which is about 15,000 books out to kids and families over like a 3-day period. So tied to one of our free toy events. So our community book drive really starts off with sponsorship and doing a bunch of individual captains similar to Book Harvest, about 40, I think. And then we have a few public locations where bins are set around the city, and anyone who wants to say check out our wish lists of books that we need most, people can purchase those books online. They can go to local bookshops who have bins at their stores and collect those books for us. The bookshops have been amazing. They offer like discounts on books that are being donated to us. They take pictures with the books. They post on social media for us. So again, that one being a 6 weeks along is really about just making sure the community knows that, these books are for them. And it's happening. So we're on TV, we're on radio, and social media for that one.
That's great.
The budget that is quoted there at 5,000 is for any of the media that isn't donated to us. It's usually about, we usually will get a nonprofit and or a seasonal discount. But the proceeds are pretty wild. We've been trying to strive very hard to have those be all 100% new book donations, things that have come from our wish lists. Wish lists have been very key in those community book drives and making sure those things are upfront and present for people to be able to immediately click. They love going to physical bookshops. So I think that addition this past year, so we've done this about 5 years now, adding our bookshops and as the partners in all of this, they've been really, really great about making it even more fun. So, yeah.
Great. And so Risa asked a question in the chat. And so, and I know Benet has answered it. So Anne, did this start for you guys as a way to raise books, and then the funding just was kind of a lovely benefit that ended up like becoming a moneymaker?
Yeah. So I'm catching up on the organization itself, so I apologize if I'm stating the obvious. So in years past and previous, when we first opened the organization, it was all used books plus some money for programming to be able to deliver those programs out. So our donations came in the form of a used book. And then the transition to our paradigm shifted completely to try to achieve 100%. So all of our programs give out brand new books that are basically upon request, either by teachers or by the kids themselves. So our book drive efforts is, yes, in a sense, this particular event, we aim for the new book donation through workplace giving. We have about 30 workplace giving people who sign up to do book drives at their workplace and try to get new books by providing them with a custom wish list. So if they're a construction company, we'll make sure that there are books about construction, and they seem to get a lot of employee engagement. There's also some peer-to-peer fundraising that happens with our board. We asked that our board start up peer-to-peer fundraising and doing a match campaign during this event, and then to turn around and basically have the community to be able to then share out that we're giving away these books immediately following is also I think really compelling to be able to, you know, sort of show that, yes, we're collecting these books, and then look, this is what we're doing with them. So.
Got it. Thank you. So everyone, when you get a chance, read Joe's comment in the chat about what they do at the Regional Literacy Council, or Capital Regional Literacy Council. So Promising Pages, we started something called Booktoberfest a couple of years ago. It started off as a way to replenish, so back to Reese's question, a way to replenish our stock of new and gently used books after a mass exodus of books after our books on break programs in the spring, and then our summer literacy infusion support over the summer. So last year, at one point, we literally ran out of books. We distributed so many books in such a short amount of time. Our warehouse staff is amazing. So we really needed to restock the shelf. So that's how Booktoberfest came about, was just replenishing books. But then, and we've only been doing this for a couple of years, we found that we could sell sponsorships. We had an event one year, but no one came to our drive-through, unlike Book Harvest. It rained on us. We were in costume. It was ridiculous, but it was actually a lot of fun, even though no one really came through. But we actually ended up raising like 35,000 books that first year because we expand our drop-off locations. So we go from, 16, 17 to like 20. So most people just wanted to, drop them off in their, in their area of town. So we really don't have a budget. We don't really need anything. It's really just online, and our partners actually help us raise books as well, because let's be honest, we serve over 250 different nonprofit partners in our area. So we're raising books for them. So we encourage them to also be a part of this effort, because they will be benefiting as well. So, it's still, we haven't been super intentional about selling sponsorships for Booktoberfest, but because we're still in the early stages, but that's just a little, we have a local TV station. If you see that bottom right-hand corner, that's one of our very popular weather guys interviewing some of the kiddos at our Reading Resource Center. So it's a lot of fun. Kayla, back to you with your KHOU 11. I don't even know how they say that, turn the page.
Yes. So our local TV station, KHOU Channel 11, puts on what they call the Turn the Page campaign, in which it's probably a 3 to 4 week period where they're doing spotlights on books between kids, why books are important, but they also host bins all around our city. I'm learning from y'all. I think something we can do is more bins and a more efficient way to get those books to us. But historically, it raises about 20,000 books. And then they also, the last day or two of the campaign, do a telethon for us. We provide the volunteers. Our local community calls in, donates money, and we have raised about $20,000, and that's all to purchase brand new books. Kelly, you're on mute.
You're still on mute, Kelly. You want me to go? How about I
You
just go?
I failed technologies
The
today.
technology gods are not in our, they're
They're
not
not
doing
in
well.
my favor. Yeah,
No,
in my
not in your
So
favor today,
you
not in
go
our
ahead.
favor today. So, again, I'm Eileen Minogue. I'm the executive director for Book Fairies in Long Island, New York, if you can't tell by my accent. And we do a peer-to-peer fundraiser called our Readathon. It was born in actually 2019. We were going to do something else, and then COVID happened. So I was trying to figure out how to raise money with everybody at home. So we started the peer-to-peer fundraising fundraiser, readathon, and we have been doing it for 5 years, and it has fluxed. It has gone. We had 1 year where we had a great honoree and we raised almost 100,000, and then it went to 75. So it's the lowest we've raised is 63,000 for it. It is facilitated by our marketing and communication consultant that we use. She handles most of the creations of the platform and the pages and the graphics and everything that's used for it. That's probably our biggest expense, is the consultant that works on it. But it's a pretty impactful, not a lot of work effort, and we get a real big bang for our efforts that we use to do it. The platform that we use is Classy. We use Classy because we actually use Salesforce. So Classy dumps everything. I always try to get all roads lead to Salesforce, as I say. And Classy dumps into Salesforce. So there's not a lot of back end keying in. It's all data dumped right into the platform. It's thanked automatically. So it's a very robust system, and we use it for our regular donations. So the cost is already there. It's a fixed cost for our yearly donations. And I just use it as a peer-to-peer fundraiser for this. And you can use it several times throughout the year if you want. So it's a big bang for its buck, Classy. We have, aside from our consultant that works with us to help run the event, we have a committee of people that help us run it. It's made up of our board and some, local ambassadors, and we try to get some schools and teams involved on the committee to kind of really gear it up. There's 3 funding streams that we have for this platform and for the peer-to-peer fundraising. We go after individuals to create pages. Basically, the event is very simple. We ask people to commit to reading for 30 days, for 30 minutes, and really just go. It's like any a-thon, right? We ask them to go to their circle of influence and ask them to join them in supporting us in our mission. And through the Classy platform page, they're able to create that page. They can also create teams and invite people to join them and join their team. So it's really good for community organizations, your local Rotaries, your Kiwanis. They can create teams. They can have competitions between different groups to see who's doing best. It's great for a corporation. They can create a corporate page, and then they can have their employees under the page. There's so many ways.
It's not kids. It's not just like geared towards kids. It's geared towards adults.
It's geared toward anybody.
Everybody. Okay.
Anybody can commit to it. And we're not holding anybody to the fire. If they're if it's the honor system. If they read for the 30 minutes for 30 days, that's up to them. We do have a sheet that if people want to fill it out, they can do that as well. But it's really just a literacy. It's held through the entire month of May. So it's really just a month about focusing on literacy, getting people to understand and raise awareness about our mission, to raise awareness about literacy in general. And then how do we engage people throughout the month is that we actually invite authors to do virtual readings with us. We've had, Annie Barrows and just really high interest authors that come in. And when we do the live readings, we offer it out to the students and individuals that we serve. So the schools that might not be able to afford to have an Annie Barrows come into their school will be a part of the live reading, and they can interact by asking questions and feeling like they're a part of what we're doing. We have, in the past, we've had a virtual MC, which has been, we've had like celebrities of some sorts come in and be virtual MCs for the event, so that we can just get a little bit more awareness of it and an extra benefit for our sponsors. We do have sponsorship levels and sponsorship opportunities that range from $1,000 to $25,000, and we've been able to secure at least a $25,000 sponsorship every year. We do have an honoree. We just secured our honoree for this year, and we asked that person to commit to trying to raise $25,000 for the event. So there's lots of ways to get people engaged and involved, and different funding streams for the event. It's not, I work on it with my consultant, and we do have the committee, but other than that, it's not a painful gala event. We all done galas. I'm not working with rain issues or having to make sure that, I'm filling 25 tables. Actually, the selling point this year for the honoree was I don't have to sell tables. I'm in. I can get the money, but I don't want to have to sell 10 tables or 5 tables or whatever. So he's like, I can get the money from people. They just don't want to go to the events. So that's something that's, other ways in which we're able to do it. The challenges are that people get, they get fatigued with it. Sometimes people might not, because it's a virtual event. It's not like you're running a race or doing a walk and people can see what you're doing. So that virtual part of it, sometimes people don't quite understand. Getting our committees to act and our team captains to actually engage. One of the threats that we have is we've had people create pages and then they abandon them. So, here I'll be like, oh, we're in a really good, we have 64 individuals and 20 teams. And then next thing you know, one team hasn't raised $1, or this team, this person hasn't even engaged in what they're doing. So that's a threat for it, for sure. And then also, finding the honorees and making sure that they feel that there's a good ROI. We're all over social media. We're posting pre-event, during event, and post-event. We do have some of our local media stations will promote it as well for us. So it's all through social media. And then we do offer benefits to the sponsors that, if depending on the level of sponsorship, and you can go to our site, our platform is up, you can look at that. Our sponsorship opportunities are right there on the page. But we've had some of them come in and introduce and speak to the virtual author and use that as a platform to speak about their business for a couple of minutes, and then also do the live reading with them.
Cool.
We've had some, ups and downs with the engagement. I will say we've had trouble with the individuals over the last 2 years, but I feel really strongly about this year because we're going about it with some other fun ideas to really make it a very interesting event. Like I said, if anybody wants to see our platform, the link is there, and we'll put it in the chat as well before we close out. But
And we'll share the slides afterwards as well, so
Yeah.
everyone will have access to like a PDF. So,
But
and
it's
Aline, I think you could do a whole webinar on just how to do this. So, so thank you for all this great information. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about an event we've got coming up, and then we're going to actually plot these on like the complexity and value. So just so you can kind of see where each of these falls in effort and reward. So the reason I'm moderating this and not a panelist is because we came up with a new event this year. It's called Novels and Nightcaps, a book fair for grownups. I'm working with 6 independent bookstores here in the Charlotte region that are coming into for one night to a very large space and curating book collections for us. They are selling their books. We have nothing to do with it. It was too complicated. They're just book vendors, but it's a place to come and for book lovers and readers in our area to be introduced to Promising Pages in a way that's really more about a fun event, getting together for bookish people. So we've got literacy themed cocktails as well as food and all kinds of, old school book fair swag and so on and so forth. It is costing us between $7,000 and $8,000 because we sold out. We're going to have around 400 people. It's been a big lift for me. I've been the primary one planning it. I do have a small committee that's been helping, but we only have 4.5 staff at Promising Pages. So this is kind of a big lift for us this year, but it's the first year and we think it's going to pay off. We're expected to make around between $20,000 and $30,000 for this one event. But the main thing is that we're also getting people excited about literacy and excited about books, and everyone's going to be coming out just to celebrate their love and joy of reading. So getting a state liquor license was something. Our deputy director, Eric Law, can attest to the trials and tribulations of getting a liquor license for one night. You have to have lots more insurance when you're bringing in alcohol. But it really has been a lot of fun to plan, and it'll be February 29th. So next year I'll be able to tell you guys more about how it actually went. So fingers crossed. So let's get to this part. it's interesting that everyone put their events in either the easy wins or the strategic initiatives. No one really had a pass or a maybe later. So looking at like how complex these events are to put on, as opposed to the reward that you get at the end of it, you can kind of see the book drives and the readathon were kind of the easiest things to actually implement with a high reward. And then you know, the galas, the breakfast, like the things that require like a true space, have a lot more complexity and a lot more a higher budget, but they also, you know, have they cast a wider net in bringing in potential donors and current donors and engaging them. So let's see, the chat is going, but I can't see. Oh, yep. So I'll have to read this from Joe, but were there any other questions that anyone wanted to ask any of our panelists before we wrap for the day? We do have the day 2 conference Zoom link is in the chat. We have a great day tomorrow. Just because it's day 2 doesn't mean you can like slip out. We've got a lot to talk about tomorrow, and we're going to have more time tomorrow to actually break out with groups that are in your same kind of arena. So, you know, leadership, we'll be talking to leadership, operations to operations, programs to programs. So there's a lot of networking opportunity there. Anyone have any questions, comments, or everyone just wants to go home and have dinner?
Quick
I think everybody
comment.
wants to get home.
This is Risa. Very quick comment. I think it would be great for people to preface when they're speaking the size of their organization, maybe how many staff. So, you know, the bigger organizations can say, oh, we could do that and more. And the little ones don't bury their head in the sand and weep for their inability to do such incredible things that you described today, but just aspire to it if we grow.
Yeah, and you know, that is why we in the presentation we actually say, you know, it takes this many people to actually execute this type of program and this many volunteers, and this is the budget. So you can kind of look through them just to see, you know, like where does your income and your, you know, staff power actually fit into any one of these. And really, honestly, this is a way for us to just say, hey, this is what's possible. But like, you might have a great idea that you'll be presenting next year, you know, that might be a version of this. You know, Boots and Boogie Man Kayla, I've already forgotten the name of yours, but like Boots and Buckles and Books is not necessarily going to work in Maine, right? But lobsters and something, I don't know if lobsters and books, you know, really go together, but there's this is just to kind of start seeding some creativity for you guys to go out and say, well, what's going to work in our community?
Kelly, I would add that a lot of the things we're talking about are really scalable. So we did Book Bash 12 years ago when we were only volunteer led, but it looked very, very different. And so I know it's very easy to get overwhelmed by everything we're talking about, but I would say look at your organization and the resources you have and how can you scale something to work for you.
Thanks, Kayla. I was just unmuting to say the exact same thing. Ready to Wear wasn't something that was around right away, but I will say that there was one full-time staff member and that everything else was volunteers with the first Ready to Wear. But that at that point too, it was, you know, we had 3 models and it was a very different structure than it is today. When the event had enough awareness and it was growing to the point where we knew we were going to have 400 people who were showing up or even 200 people who were showing up, it changed into a very different event. So anything that's creative, anything that you can think of that is about the experience of the person who's coming to an event is where you focus your efforts. And really, ideas are free. So I want to make sure that everyone remembers that. And you all have started some organizations that probably you are best suited to come up with some really creative ideas.
Yeah, and just back to the beginning is what is your goal? You know, our goal with Novels and Nightcaps was to introduce a younger generation individuals that love books and reading, but maybe don't have kids or have never heard of us. We wanted to introduce ourselves to them to start cultivating relationships and future donors. So that's where where Novels and Nightcaps came from. So it really does depend on what are you trying to achieve, and then go from there. And if you want to ever just sit around and talk ideas, I love that stuff. Please call me. Actually, text me and then we'll talk because I don't like to the phone. So yeah. Well, everyone, we are 1 minute over. I apologize for going over. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Thank you to our panelists for your time and talking about events and sharing all this amazing work that you've been blood, sweat, and tears over the years and sharing your wins with us. We appreciate everybody. We hope to see you tomorrow. Please make sure to check the chat for the link. Tomorrow has a different Zoom link than today. So please make sure you grab that if you don't already have it. And we hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your Thursday. And no matter what time it is for East Coast, it's time to go home, kids. And for folks in Central and California, enjoy the rest of your workday. And we will see you guys all bright and early. Emily, you want to say anything as we go?
Just thank y'all for being here. If you're not a member, you certainly should be.
You should.
And look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow.
See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you all.